Hi, it's Deb from Deb's Days. Today I'm sharing the summary of my 2 weeks aboard the Royal Princess in Alaska. Before I get started, I publish new content each week, so be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And click the bell to get notified about those latest videos. And don't forget to check out debsdays.com for more cruising resources. You'll find cruise tips, trip reports, ship and port-specific articles, and plenty of photos. If you're a crafter, I've got you covered there too, with free sewing and crafting patterns and links to sewing and crafting tutorials. All right, let's talk about the Royal Princess in Alaska. I did do a daily live from during my 2 weeks on the ship. If you'd rather read about that, I've added direct links in the description right below this video. I think our 2 weeks on the Royal Princess's maiden voyage to Alaska can be summed up in a few words. Scenery, long lines, tasty food, messing with the medallion, and the Ketchikan Tragedy. Scenery. This cruise was actually 2 back-to-back cruises from Vancouver to Whittier and back to Vancouver. While we visited all ports as expected, our trip to and from Alaska deviated from the typical route. When we left Vancouver, we took the green route instead of the much more scenic red route. It was quite disappointing. The difference in scenery between those 2 routes is huge. We also had a switch in our Ketchikan approach. Usually when coming into Ketchikan from the south, ships take the red route, but we came in on the brown route, another less scenic route. I had the opportunity to ask the captain and third officer several questions about both of those deviations. When coming and going in and out of Vancouver, there's an issue with the length of the Royal Princess and the British Columbia marine pilot rules. Currently, there's a limit on the length the ship can be when passing through the area. So while right now the Royal can't sail those narrower, more scenic waterways outside Vancouver, they are working to get clearance at some point during the summer. Sailings later in the season may get that scenic route. And in terms of Ketchikan, Alaska marine pilots had had some concerns about the maneuverability of the Royal Princess, particularly at lower speeds. So as the ship was needing to slow down to dock in Ketchikan, it required a different approach. One that would bring her in from the north. Which now makes sense to why when we left Ketchikan on our way back to Vancouver, we were able to leave out the south. I was told since we weren't trying to slow down to dock in Ketchikan, the issue wasn't an issue and we could maneuver on out through that scenic south. But the other scenery along the way made up for it for sure. Long lines. Lines were long everywhere on this trip. Big ship equals lots of passengers equals long lines. In Vancouver, you're funneled into the same security line and U.S. Customs and Border Protection line as the other ships that are in port. Always long lines here. Lines coming back onto the ship in port were long too. This was only the first third of the line. It switched back 2 more times up on the dock. And even at the very end of the cruise, just look at the lines trying to get a taxi in Vancouver. But when the ship was sailing, we found plenty of empty spots to sit. There are some somewhat hidden doors taking you outside on deck 7. Seats were usually available on both sides. Our other go-to spot was Horizon Terrace, back behind the buffet. Sometimes it was completely empty. Shh, don't tell. And on port days, the ship was also very empty. What a beautiful day in Juneau. Tasty food. We usually ate at the buffet. I've said this before, but the buffet is just plain amazing on the Royal Princess. Multiple lines to choose from, multiple choices of foods to choose from, good food, and plenty of space to move about in the area. Hubby was partial to the daily grilled veggies. I liked my daily taco fix. The buffet is where he also got his free fresh ground coffee every day. If you've been on other princess ships, you know the coffee's not the greatest because it's made from a liquidy syrupy thing, but not on the Royal Princess, fresh ground. There's hot chocolate there too, for free. And those people who are needing Splenda and the fake stuff can both be found on board. We had Alfredos a couple of times. Tasty as usual. Remember, you don't have to just choose what's on the menu. As long as they have the ingredients, they can make you the pizza you want. Our go-to not on the menu is pepperoni, garlic, red onion, and extra cheese. Yummy. We ate at Sabatini's on the Whittier turnaround day. We had a 5:30 dinner and pretty much had the place to ourselves. Food was delicious and we'd absolutely go again. I have a separate blog post about Sabatini's. You can find that on debsdays.com. Messing with the medallion. We were so very excited we'd get to use our medallions to check in Vancouver. We'd filled out our order and had them mailed to the house ahead of time, took our pictures, uploaded the other pictures required, scanned our passports into their system. We had the medallion boarding pass ready on our phone. We also printed off those boarding passes just in case, and then we also printed the old type boarding passes from our Princess Personalizer as a double just in case. It was a good thing we did that extra printing because they'd only take the old type boarding passes at check-in. It's kind of a bummer. But it was Vancouver's first time with the medallion. I would expect later in the season things to be running more smoothly. We've used the medallion before on our month-long stay on the Caribbean Princess when they were still working on rolling out all the components. Here on the Royal, they're a bit further along, so we got to use some of the apps I downloaded before leaving home. We ordered food and drinks through the Ocean Now app. Room service? Yep, we ordered that too. Fries at the pool? You betcha. I used the Ocean Compass app a lot to try and find where hubby was at. He's a hard man to track down, but no more. As we found out after using the apps, they still need some work as there's some bugs here and there. I have some additional medallion videos on my YouTube channel and on debsdays.com, so check those out if you want more information specific to the medallion. Medallion net wasn't the greatest on this trip, I gotta say. Alaska and those dang mountains, I guess. Actually, that's what I thought, but it really has to do with our location. We're just a little too far north for the satellite to give us a strong signal. We traded in hubby's Elite Minutes to get a discount on an unlimited package. I just kept my Elite Minutes, but actually I wound up using his unlimited ones instead. There's a 1-device package and a 4-device package. We just used the 1-device package, and it was super easy for it just to switch back and forth. Ketchikan Tragedy. Our first visit to Ketchikan was tragic, as several of our passengers were killed in a float plane accident. I documented the happenings on board on debsdays.com if you need to know a little bit more. The first few days after the accident, the mood on the ship was pretty somber, but as we visited more ports, folks got back to enjoying their vacation. Other things. Cabin. We had 2 different cabins on this trip. Our first one was an inside cabin at the very front of the ship on Marina deck. We expected it to be the quietest of the cabins, but we had some very noisy neighbors in the 2 suites across and forward of us. Our second cabin was assigned just a couple days before sailing. It was an inside cabin midship on Emerald deck, and it was really super quiet. The only hang-up was it was a quad cabin, so we had those bunk protrusions getting in our way. We had the steward switch us to twins. On the Royal, the lights have a slot to place your cruise card, so when you're in the cabin, the lights are on. When you're out of the cabin, the lights are off. We used to be able to just put our cruise card in, but now since the Royal doesn't issue cruise cards anymore, they've left a dummy card for passengers to use. We just angled it a bit and left it in the slot, and it shut off the lights just fine. When we came back into the cabin, we'd put it back in, lights would come back on. Our second cabin had a new shower curtain in the bathroom. This one had a weight at the bottom to keep that curtain in check. Yay! Activities. While we spent our time on board watching the world go by, catching up with the on-demand movies, and visiting with crew member friends, the ship had cruise director extraordinaire Matto running things. When you have him on the ship, you know the place is going to be teeming with activities. I do have all the Princess Patters if you'd like to take a look at the day-to-day activities. Those too are on debsdays.com under the Cruising Resources section. Encouraging Words Project. I left notes and money all around the ship and in the ports too. One also went into the wake show box each day, and Matto made sure they were read every single day. Here's a snippet of the wake show.
But my final shout out comes to a young lady who is literally giving me dollars. Yes, indeed, and words of inspiration. Debsdays.com. Debsdays.com is where you can learn more about Encouraging Words Project. It says, to encourage myself and others to recognise the power within each and every one of us, I've been delivering words of support and inspiration. For the last 7 years, I've been giving away dollar bills and notes of encouragement, leaving them in restrooms, aeroplane magazines, sugar containers, even on windowsills, tip jars, hotel room drawers. I've left them on buses, taxis, trains, shopping carts, store shelves, offices for doctors, and of course around cruise ships, including this one. I know in my heart, if I could commit to being positive and supportive in our ideas and thoughts, words and actions, the world will be a better place. If you read these encouraging words out on the Wake Show, it would help send some positive vibes into the world. Infinitely grateful, Deb. Thank you, debsdays.com. That is the address. And that came with a lovely inspirational word of live deep and suck out all the marrow of life. There you go. And that is $1 bill right there, which I will cherish. Or pay it forward, as I believe in, pay it forward. And second one coming in on Ketchikan was let your dreams be bigger than your fears. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Wise words from Deb. And of course, take those words with you today into Juneau.
A big thank you to Matt for helping spread those positive vibes out into the world. So here's the question. Would I sail the Royal to Alaska again? Absolutely. While I won't be going to Alaska on the Royal again this summer, this fall I will be going on the Royal as we cruise to Mexico several times actually. So stay tuned to debsdays.com, to my YouTube channel, looking for those updates. Interested in booking a cruise on a Medallion class ship or even a non-Medallion class ship? Contact me on Deb's Days. Along with having been on over 75 cruises, I'm now also a Princess Commodore, the highest level of Princess Cruises expert there is in the travel agent world. I have access to deals you might not be able to book on your own. I'd love to help you put together a cruise, or any vacation for that matter, suited just for you. Remember, my services are at no additional cost to you.